What's up, my eBay dropshipping minions? Today I want to talk to you guys about having multiple eBay accounts. And even, does eBay allow having multiple accounts? So most people only have one eBay account and they have one PayPal account attached to the eBay account. They sell whatever they sell, and that's that. There's really no need for multiple eBay accounts for most people. Now, that said, when you're dropshipping on eBay, there actually does come a point where it's useful to have multiple eBay accounts. For example, if you have, say, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 suppliers that you're using to dropship, it becomes really difficult to remember which supplier supplies this specific eBay listing that you have. You can have a spreadsheet, there's ways of doing it. It just becomes more complicated, especially when you outsource. And ultimately, the whole purpose of eBay dropshipping stores is to have freedom of movement, freedom to travel, freedom to live overseas, freedom from just simply your 9-to-5 job. And so ultimately, your goal is to outsource your business once you build it up. So you want to make it as simple as possible for your VAs or virtual assistants to be able to find products and fulfill them. So that's why multiple eBay stores is important, because you actually want to make it, you basically want to eliminate the chance of something going wrong with your eBay store. And you do that by separating your suppliers. So me, for example, I have one eBay store that is only uses Home Depot as a source. I have another one that only uses Amazon as a source. I'm actually going to have a third and fourth store here pretty soon. But the truth is, eBay allows you to have multiple stores, right? eBay allows you to have multiple stores because they understand there's a reason. Sometimes you might want to have an account solely to make purchases. Sometimes you have an account where you sell stuff as a business. Sometimes you have an account where you sell stuff personally. Sometimes you have multiple stores because you sell from different vendors. All these are reasons eBay is aware of, and that allows you to have multiple stores. Now, there is a catch. You can't have one store with a 10,000 item limit and then open a second store and you'll instantly have 10,000 item limit on that. It's not how it works. Basically, in general, when you open a store, you have your initial store, and then let's say you open up a second store and you have a 10,000 item limit. What it's going to do is it's going to marry the two, because eBay has algorithms that will connect to the two, whether it's through your name, social security number, your IP address. There's a whole array of things that they do. And I actually just got off the phone with an eBay rep a couple days ago, and they were telling me basically how it works. They said you can have multiple eBay accounts, you can have as many as you want, but in general, they're going to link the two, and they're going to take, if you have a 10,000 limit, they'll spread that across. So let's say you're already using 8,000 of those listings on your main account or on one account, and you open up a second, they're only going to allow you to have 2,000 on there. Now, you can obviously increase the limit and make it go higher, but the reason I initially looked into this was because my limits are crazy, and I'll show that in another video, but I have something like $28 million dollar limit, and I have I think it's 800 and some thousand, 820 or something like that, thousand item limit. It's huge, it's massive. I'm never going to reach it. So basically what I did was, I said I'll just open up multiple accounts because I'm never going to reach that limit anyways. Now, there is a catch here. The catch is on your third account. So let's say you have your first account, which mine has like 800,000 item listing limit, and open up my second account, right? Now it's going to marry the two, and it's going to allow me to, it's going to give me high, generally speaking, it's going to give me a high limit. It's not necessarily going to give me whatever's left over in the first store, but it will give you a high limit once you match up the stores. Again, you have to use the same name and PayPal account, stuff like that. But even if you don't, oftentimes they know, and they'll marry the two. And the purpose is because they don't want you to have a limit that they set specifically for, whatever reason they set your account limit to, and then have you just open up a second store in the same name, and you are basically circumventing their limits. But that said, with your third store, let's say you open up a third store. That third store, in general, is not going to get those huge limits. It's going to have a much smaller limit than your initial store and even your second store. For whatever reason, I don't know. That's what they told me, but that's not a big deal. You can still build it up. Now there is something that you want to keep in mind, and this is something the rep specifically told me, and it's kind of something I assumed anyways, but it was good that they reiterated this. When you have multiple counts, if your first count becomes below standard, so your feedback score goes really low, your shipping rate becomes really low, your defect rate becomes really low, you have massive amount of returns, whatever it is, in a lot of cases filed, and you get to a point where eBay decides to suspend your count. Because your accounts, count 1, 2, and 3, and so on, are linked, more than likely, not 100%, but more than likely, they're going to freeze all accounts. So you are taking some risk, but if you're really diligent in keeping track of your customers and making sure they're happy, shipping things out on time, dealing with cases when they come in a timeful manner, you really don't have anything to worry about. All right, but if you are going to have multiple accounts, keep that in mind. And again, I say have multiple accounts, and the reason I have multiple accounts is because I have multiple suppliers and I want to keep them separated. And it makes it very easy for your virtual assistants because you can just simply have one store which only uses Amazon, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 employees, and you say, look, everything you need to deal with, go through Amazon's website, source through Amazon, buy through Amazon, whatever it is, process your returns through Amazon. In another store, Home Depot, do the same thing, and so on and so forth with other stores. So you can't have multiple stores. I got it straight from eBay's mouth. And actually, I believe they have it somewhere documented on their website. I can't remember for sure if I saw that, but I believe I did. So if you guys have huge limits and you want to separate your stores, you want to make it, you get to a point where you're really starting to make money and you want to segment your stores so that's easier, you can easily do it that way and have multiple stores, and I highly suggest doing it. You can have multiple stores not connected to yourself, but that involves using stealth accounts and using other people's PayPal accounts, using fictitious names and all that stuff. And in my view, as long as you really sustain a account, you take care of your customers, you make sure you fall within the policies, you really have nothing to worry about. All right, guys, see you guys later.